This is Steve the Lemon Sauer with Lemon Squeezings. There's so much going on in Led Zeppelin news right now that I decided to put together this video out here in the South Florida dusk to brief you on everything that's happening. You may have seen a Led Zeppelin reunion rumor hit the press today, and that's because headliner U2 has now officially dropped out of the lineup at the Glastonbury Festival in England, which takes place June 23rd to the 27th. Lead singer Bono has undergone emergency surgery on his back, and the band scrapped their North American tour dates. Now the news came today direct from Bono to Michael Eavis, organizer of the Glastonbury Festival, that U2 is officially out for that show as well. Lemon Squeezings wishes Bono a speedy recovery. Now, what's this have to do with Led Zeppelin, you might ask? Well, now there's obviously a big vacancy in the Glastonbury lineup. And there's been a long-standing desire among the festival promoters and the British media, as well as I'm sure the fans, for Led Zeppelin to reunite for the gig. If you recall, back in 2007, after Led Zeppelin confirmed that the group would reunite for a single show at the end of the year, there were rumors the band would be booked to play Glastonbury in 2008. These rumors never relented with each passing year, and also never came true. But the fuse was lit once again this morning, Tuesday, May 25th, 2010, when Jimmy Page was asked live on BBC Radio if he wouldn't rule out the possibility of a gig. Jimmy's response? Well, same as it ever was, that he wouldn't rule out anything. He wouldn't. Of course, that's only his position. You'd also have to ask a few other people. Namely, Robert Plant, for one. What's he say about it? Well, he's the one who said no to a tour, but he has also made statements in the past about doing a gig every now and then for the right reasons. Zeppelin's reunion gig in 2007 was for the right reasons, apparently. Firstly, paying tribute to the late Ahmet Ertegun, who was not only Led Zeppelin's label boss at Atlantic Records, but also a close friend of the band. And secondly, raising money for a scholarship fund established in Ertegun's memory. As we've seen in the past, the right reasons to reunite Led Zeppelin don't include things like being offered $1 million for a tour, or a string of shows at the O2 Arena split between groups Led Zeppelin and ABBA because of the untimely death of Michael Jackson, who was booked to play there. For Robert Plant, filling a festival lineup vacancy for U2 would probably fit into that category of unacceptable reasons to reunite Led Zeppelin. But you never know. And I bet you the question will be asked when he's interviewed this Thursday morning, May 27th, on the Paul and Young Ron Show, which, if you don't know, happens to be a popular morning show on like 3 of the stations nearby here. For some reason, both Robert Plant and drummer Jason Bonham are said to be appearing on the syndicated Florida radio show for a segment at 8:20 in the morning Eastern Time, this Thursday. A publicist for Jason Bonham confirms their scheduled joint appearance and the timing of it. But when asked what it's all about, like why Robert Plant and Jason Bonham would be appearing together on the radio show, the publicist said she'll be finding out along with everybody else when the show is broadcast live Thursday morning, if you believe that one. I, for one, am intrigued by the possibilities. I mean, Jason Bonham has a concert tour to promote, namely Jason Bonham's Led Zeppelin Experience. He hasn't announced any particular tour dates yet, or even said who's going to be in his band. He could be preparing to announce some of those details this week. If so, why would he be announcing it in coordination with Robert Plant? If for any other reason than, aha! Robert Plant intends to participate in the Jason Bonham tour. Well, part of Jason's tour will include telling stories, showing pictures from his family photo albums. Robert's a part of Jason's story, undeniably. Jason's dad and Robert were best friends, so Robert's like an uncle to Jason. Last year, during some of Jason's concerts, he told a story between songs about how he played drums on some of Robert's earliest post-Zeppelin demo recording sessions as a solo artist. So Robert could be joining up with Jason in some capacity on tour, whether it's just telling stories and having a laugh, or actually singing some old Zeppelin material and some solo songs. We'll see what these two are cooking up. In the meantime, the only announced tour dates Robert has on his schedule are the ones coming up in July. He starts off July 13th in Memphis and plays 11 more shows right on through Miami on July 31st. His label says Robert will have more dates in support of this new album we're learning more about. A consultant by the name of Nigel Grange has just disclosed his involvement in picking out some obscure cover songs that aren't any more than 5 years old, which Robert has apparently recorded on his album. Interesting. And there's no specific word yet on when that album release is going to be, other than the general late summer, early fall line. And there's also no word on whether there will be any original material on the album. I hope so. Something recently published in Rolling Stone makes me think that there will be, but I haven't been able to get anybody to verify that point for me, so we'll see. But the thing is, if Robert were to team up with Jason Bonham this year on tour, it seems that the time is right for that to happen. Robert's tour takes a break at the end of July, and then Jason could start his own tour as early as sometime in August. It would be most fitting for one of Jason's shows to take place on September 25th, as that day will be the 30th anniversary of John Bonham's death. So whether Jason tours in August and September, or September and October, he could play a show on September 25th either way, and conceivably these dates would fit into Robert's schedule. Again, we'll have to see. Speaking of tributes to John Bonham, it was as if the news of a possible Led Zeppelin reunion hijacked the British media's coverage of the BBC interview with Jimmy Page on Tuesday morning, this morning, May 25th. Jimmy had a lot more to say in the studio than just the one line that he wouldn't rule out any possible reunion activity. He was there to talk about an upcoming radio documentary all about John Bonham that's set to air on Bonzo's birthday, next Monday, May 31st. Jimmy had a lot more to say in the studio than just the one reported line that he wouldn't rule out any possible reunion activity. He was there to talk about an upcoming radio documentary all about John Bonham that's set to air on Bonzo's birthday, next Monday, May 31st. The special will be hosted by Dave Grohl. Let's see, he's the former Nirvana drummer, the Foo Fighters frontman, and the current drummer for Them Crooked Vultures alongside John Paul Jones, among other things. Jimmy didn't have a whole lot to say about Grohl other than an offhand remark about his tattoos of John Bonham's symbols, but on the other hand, Jimmy did have some kind words about John Bonham, and there will be tons more where that came from when the show airs next Monday. An ad for the show that I heard this morning contains the words of Robert Plant on his longtime bandmate and dear friend, John Bonham. And since I haven't addressed John Paul Jones, let me do that now. With Dave Grohl, their band, Them Crooked Vultures, will proceed to Europe for several festivals this summer, which, you know, would put Jones at approximately the right place and time should Jimmy Page be calling him about an appearance at Glastonbury. But then again, the Vultures have June and July and August together, and that seems it'll be it for the band. You know, for now, that is. They do have a second album to put together, which they said will be down the road. No plans for that just yet. In the meantime, singer-guitarist Josh Homme will be returning to Queens of the Stone Age. Dave Grohl will be returning to Foo Fighters. So, where does that leave John Paul Jones? Will he be possibly returning to... That couldn't be. He was rather sour on that point not too long ago, but we'll see if anything changed. If he doesn't care to participate in a Led Zeppelin reunion, or more likely, if that Led Zeppelin reunion really is not even under any serious consideration by any of those guys, there's always a long-promised solo album John Paul Jones has been working on for a number of years. And you know what? I think Jimmy Page also fits into that category, having promised to be seen more in 2010. Well, with his expensive pictorial autobiography coming out from Genesis Publications as early as next month, and with his recent radio interviews for the BBC, oh yeah, including one last Christmas for a two-part series on the Led Zeppelin BBC sessions, seems Jimmy's had a lot on his plate. And of course he also has charities to support benefiting street kids in Brazil, and a family to support at home. So obviously there's a lot going on for him. But maybe, just maybe, he'll be offering up some real important news sometime soon about a solo project of his own. Keep those fingers crossed. Keep that lemon squeezing. And that's it for this update from Lemon Squeezings. Again, I'm Steve the Lemon Sauer, saying rock and roll.